and welcome to a very late episode of my bi-monthly railway-themed news show, Train News. As always, we begin with the KD Travel News. On Saturdays 16th and 23rd of October, there will be engineering works between Oxford Road and Urmston only. And on the 29th and 30th of October, there will be work between Oxford Road / Victoria and Eccles. On Monday 17th of October, due to the parade in Manchester, there will be no services to Exchange Square. And on the 22nd and 23rd of October, there will be Metrolink engineering work between Market Street / Piccadilly Gardens and Media City UK, Altrincham and Furswood. I know this may sound very silly indeed, but when travelling, please do be aware of any suspicious clown activity that may be taking place and report it to the police. You can follow the KD Travel News Twitter feed in the description below. It's at KD Travel News. And now, rail news. St Peter's Square, along with the entire Eccles line, has now reopened. I've actually made a few videos on the topic myself, you can check them out. Metrolink services are now back across the entire network. So this is a very old news story, although I've only just found out about it a few weeks ago, but on the 5th of March, I think, there were changes to UK legislation, meaning that trains in the UK no longer need to have yellow ends as long as their lighting meets certain requirements. Which does explain why all the artist impressions of new TPE trains have black front ends. Anyway, this is very relevant to our next story, as Bombardier have now unveiled the first Class 345 Aventra for Crossrail, and this will be the first UK train to take advantage of the change in legislation, as they will also have black front ends. Looks pretty good. In other news, Viva Rail have finally found a home for the Class 230, aka the D-Stock train, which they tried to push onto Northern last year and thankfully failed. These services will be transferred to London Midland to run Coventry to Nuneaton services. The Night Tube has finally begun. The Victoria and Central lines were the first to start operating all night every Friday and Saturday night from the 20th of August, and as of the 7th of October, they have been joined by the Jubilee line. The Northern and Piccadilly lines will join soon also. Abellio is set to continue operating the East Anglia franchise and have drawn up a huge master plan of complete stock replacement. They will be replacing their entire fleet. The London to Norwich and Stansted Express services, alongside some other regional services, will be operated by articulated Stadler flirts, whilst commuter services will be replaced with Aventra units similar to those coming to London Overground and Crossrail. By the way, up until a few weeks ago, I kept hearing the name Stadler Flirt, and not knowing that I actually did know what it was, because I keep seeing them in Hungary all the time. I just didn't know that that's what they were, but actually these trains are the Stadler Flirt. So for once, the UK is getting a type of train that Hungary already has. Oh, and speaking of Stadler Flirt, G7 in Hungary have just ordered 10 more. So whilst existing units such as the 317 and 153 will probably be scrapped, nobody has any idea what will happen to the rest of the fleet. 156s could move to Northern, and then there's also the 170, 360 and 379s to relocate. Not to mention the loco-hauled trains. Maybe Northern could get the 360s from Greater Anglia and also Heathrow Connect. That would be nice. Voslo, now owned by Stadler, have unveiled the first Class 88 locomotive. Looks familiar? There's a reason for that. They are pretty much identical to the existing 68 locomotives, except that these can also run under electric power. The first part of the new concourse at London Bridge has now opened. Charing Cross services are now calling at the station, while Cannon Street services are now running through non-stop. Great Western Railway have begun operating the new EMU shuttle service to Hayes and Harlingdon using the new Class 387s. At peak times, these replace the diesel services from Greenford, which will eventually become a self-contained shuttle, which is a bit unfair. Aw, poor little Greenford. I mean, you do have the Central line, but still. It's the HST's 40th birthday, and to celebrate, Great Western Railway have repainted 2 of their 43 locomotives, one into the classic British Rail Intercity livery, and one into the relatively newer Swallow livery. I happened to come across the first one in Paddington Station as I was in London last weekend, which is also why this video is a week late. The first Class 385, aka AT200 train, has arrived in the UK, while a second one seems to be currently tested in the Czech Republic? Yeah, no idea. The first 6 are being built in Japan, the rest in the UK. Finally, in the September edition of Modern Railways, where I get all of my rail-related information from, no, this video is not sponsored, is a mention of Norton Bridge Railway Station. Now you may be asking, Norton Bridge Railway Station? You mean those abandoned platforms you passed through right after that new flyover they just built? Yes, although technically Norton Bridge is still an operational station. What? How? Let me explain. So Norton Bridge Railway Station is one of 3 railway stations in the UK, the other ones being Barlaston and Wedgwood, which were closed in 2004 as part of an upgrade project on the West Coast Main Line, which are technically still open stations. Because of outrage following the Beeching Acts in the 1960s, nowadays going through the legal process of closing a railway station is a massive pain in the backside. So what railway operators do to avoid the pain of actually closing a station is pretend to temporarily close it and provide a permanent replacement bus. This pretense of an open station is called a legal fiction. And the joke in the magazine is that National Rail have recently updated the webpage for Norton Bridge Railway Station with a picture of the station building. Are you interested in trains? I mean, let's be honest, if you're this far into the video, then that's a bit of a redundant question. Well, if you do, you should definitely go check out Train and Plane Hub's brand new episode of Trains at Speed UK, links in the description. Thank you for watching this episode of Train News. The next episode will be in late December. Sorry that this video is a week late, lots of new videos coming soon, and bye. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of my monthly show about trains, Train News. In this show we have 2 segments, one KD travel news and rail news. So let's start with the travel news. Aww. Ooh. Before I start this video, I'd like to talk about YouTube Heroes. You see, the problem with YouTube Heroes is, what I meant to say is, YouTube Heroes is great.